Hello and welcome to the Best Damn Avril Show, the Avril Lavigne community show that's anything but ordinary. I'm your host, Neil, and with me today, as always, is Marliz. What's up, Marliz?
Hello.
And we also have a special guest today. This person is known for having very strong opinions and the longest words per post on the Avril Band-Aid forum, or WPP as we call it in the industry. One of my favorite posters on the message boards, BogoGog24. What's up, Bogo?
Hi.
And today we're gonna interview Bogo so you guys can learn more about her. We're gonna talk about some news for the first time in this show's history. Avril is arriving on vinyl, which is pretty exciting for me. Our main topic for today is going to be did the best damn thing ruin Avril's career? That'll be fun. And we'll end by asking Bogo some questions from the community. So, all right, let's get started. We'll start off the interview differently this time by asking you about your name, Bogo. What's the deal with the name? What's the history behind BogoGog24?
So, do you guys know what Beanie Babies are?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to explain what they are for some of our younger...
Yeah, so like in the 90s, Beanie Babies were like these little stuffed animals that were really popular. My brother and I both had a whole bunch of them, and there was a monkey named Gog, like G-O-G, and one day I was playing school with them, and I was trying to write their names on their desks or whatever, and for some reason I spelled it as BogoGog. I don't know why. And then years later, I was trying to make a profile for Xbox, and I didn't know like what username to pick. So my brother was like, "How about BogoGog?" And like ever since then, for emails and like other forums and stuff, I've just always gone with BogoGog because no one else is gonna have that. Right. So
what's the 24 about then?
My birthday is June 24th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not about
so original. No.
Yeah, I know, such a really weird name, but
yeah, it's cool though.
You know, it
flows well.
Yeah, I've actually considered changing it at some point to like either something more like Avril related or something like that. But then I was like, but that's what everybody knows me as, so it would be weird. Yeah. So
yeah, don't do it.
So it's not about a sick buy one get one sale you had a long time ago.
I know. Every time I see BOGO, like buy one get one, that's what I always think of.
All right, cool. So tell us about yourself and how you got into Avril.
Okay, so I'm 24 years old. My real name is Andrea, and I'm 24 years old, and I'm from the U.S. So I got into Avril basically in the Let Go era, like most people. When I was like 8 or 9 was when Complicated was out, and I heard Complicated on the radio, and I remember thinking that it was a really cool song, but I didn't know who the artist was or anything else about it. I don't even think I heard it again for like months or something. And then like months and months later... Do you guys remember a show called All That on Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure if Marliz would have that.
Don't,
but... if you had that in your country, but there was a show on Nickelodeon back in like the 2000s called All That, and it was like Saturday Night Live, but for kids. So they would have like a musical guest on at the end. So there was one day, I think it must have been like the Halloween episode or something like that, because I looked it up later to see what episode it was, and so this was like, October, I think maybe 2002, and Avril was the musical guest on the episode, and I happened to be taping this episode on VHS tape. That's how old this is. Yeah. So I was taping it on VHS, and she happened to be the musical guest on that episode. I think this was like fate or something that I happened to be recording it, and she performed Complicated, and I don't know if I made the connection that it was like the same song I had heard months before, but it was like that moment that clicked with me, because I think up until then I didn't have a lot of music. Like I had a CD player, but I had like those like now that's what I call music CDs. It's just like one song by one artist. I didn't have any like real CDs, and so she was probably my first introduction to like commercial pop music, and it was like that moment where everything clicks and it just resonates with you. So she performed Complicated, and everything about that performance resonated with me, like the song and the way she was singing, the way that she performed, her outfit, like of course she had the tie and stuff on, and it was like everything about it. Like I think even though like I was so young back then, I feel like somehow I knew that I related to her because like we have similar taste in fashion and like similar personalities and stuff like that. It was like I somehow knew that like I related to her and that she resonated with me.
Yeah.
And so of course because I had it on tape, I kept like rewinding it and watching that performance over and over and over again. And I think my parents saw me watching it, and I think they were just glad that she wasn't like a Britney Spears type. So they saw me interested in this musician, and so they tried to find out anything about her. So my dad found out she had an album, which was obviously Let Go, and then he bought it for me. And I remember when I got the CD, I was really surprised that there were like other songs on it because I didn't realize like what the heck a CD was, I guess. So I put it on my CD player and I followed along with all the lyrics and the booklet, and the rest is history. Like I remember every day in like 4th and 5th grade when I came home from school, I would listen to that album, and like I wore that album booklet out. I still have the original copy. It's like all worn out and torn and like written on and stuff, and it's
Awesome.
my favorite album of all time basically for that reason. And then I became a much bigger fan when I joined Band-Aids, which was in 2009. So that was between The Best Damn Thing and Goodbye Lullaby. And basically being a part of Band-Aids, I think, helped me become a bigger fan because they're always the first to post about any news. So, like, back in her early career, it was harder to follow her because the internet was still, like, in its early stages. So it was harder to keep up with what she was doing. So then by this time, like, when Band-Aids was around and stuff, it was easier to find news about her. And so having that connection like with the community and being able to talk about her and stuff, and there were people who were more knowledgeable about her than I was, all of that helped me to become a much bigger fan.
Yeah. I remember, yeah, Band-Aids does make you a bigger fan because you connect with all the fans and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I mean, there's always like people who have either followed her longer or they know more stuff about her, and like there's always people who like any question you have regarding anything Avril, it's a guaranteed somebody knows. So.
Exactly.
Plus, I mean, that was back in the day on like the old site when there was like 100,000 members or whatever it was, and so it was like a much more active community back then too. And so that was like when we were all waiting for news about Goodbye Lullaby, so like having access to all those knowledgeable people and the news and stuff, it just helped me to be able to follow everything. Because Goodbye Lullaby was the first era that I could follow as it happened. So like every time a new interview came out or a new performance came out or something like that, I was able to catch up on it right away.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. That's a long story.
I know. I tried to tell the relatively short version of it, I guess.
It's fine though.
But I mean, I'm one of her fans that's been here since basically day one. Some people maybe didn't become fans until like later albums, and so I was there pretty much from the beginning.
Did you follow a lot of Under My Skin though? That era?
Well, like I said, like because that was in 2004, and like the internet that we had back then was like it was dial-up internet. That's like how bad it was. So like it was and like YouTube didn't even exist then, which is weird to think about.
No, that's crazy.
So like I think it was a lot more difficult to keep up with artists because there was no social media, there was no YouTube back then, and I was like so young. I was probably like 10 or 11 or something when Under My Skin came out, and I remember seeing it in the store, and my parents were like, "Andrea, Avril has a new album out," but for some reason I like didn't want to get it right away. But they had
fake fan.
I know they had the Avril Live acoustic EP though, and I got that because I saw it had new songs on it, and it was like $5. So I'm like, yeah, I'll get that.
All right. So I mean, you said "Let Go" is your favorite album. So like, what's your favorite song on the album?
This is difficult because my favorite songs change all the time. Like, "Complicated" is definitely a favorite. It might even be my favorite like ultimate song of hers because that was her first one. It was the first one that I heard. Plus it's iconic. It's a classic pop song. And like everybody knows it, and it's iconic. Complicated is definitely one of my favorites. Like I love pretty much the whole album, so it's hard for me to pick a favorite. I think one of my favorites that is an unpopular opinion, is My World. Like, I know a lot of people don't like it for some reason, but I love the lyrics because I love how it's like her autobiography, and I think it has really like unique, like this unique pop sound to it. It's just like a really cool song. Like I love that one. And then I love Nobody's Fool also because like I know a lot of people make fun of her rapping in it. But
it was fine actually.
Yeah, I think
better than the bitchy summer rap.
Yeah, I think she sounds pretty good rapping in it, and like I like the lyrics and how like the general message of the song is to be yourself because that's what she's always been about. So that whole message resonates with me a lot, and yeah, I suppose maybe those are like my top 3. I also, of course, like I'm With You. That's a classic ballad from her. Like, but like I said, I love the whole album. I can't like really pick a favorite because I think the whole album is produced really well. It's a masterpiece to me. I think the whole album is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So what about least favorite though?
Like least favorite album?
Yeah.
It would definitely be Avril Lavigne, like most people say. But the funny thing is that I like the songs individually. It's just that, like, as everybody's been saying, like, when they're all together on the same album, it just doesn't make any sense. But I think the songs on their own are good. I don't think there's any album of hers that I would say is outright bad. Like, I don't think there's any album of hers I really dislike.
Yeah.
Like, there's ones I don't like as much, but everybody's like that.
Yeah. And I don't know if this was you, but I remember when I first joined Bandit, I saw someone defend Avril's cover of Bad Reputation. Was that you?
I don't remember, but I do love her cover of Bad Reputation. Honestly,
okay,
like, I know a lot of
people.
You're the only one. Yeah, like I'm surprised at how many people don't like her cover of Bad Reputation. Like I do like the original. I do like the original as well, but I don't know why people don't like her version. Like it is a little bit different than the original, but like I love how it was like produced. Like it's very like that pop punk, pop rock kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very like aggressive, and it's just like fun to play it when you're like feeling kind of angry, or like it's a good like self-empowerment kind of anthem. I think I love her cover of it.
Yeah, same.
All right, no
I think actually
here.
Compared to the original, I love how it's like the guitar is more like that punk, like that hard sound, and you can really rock out to it.
It's more aggressive, I think.
Yeah,
and I think her vocals, like she hits some really high notes in it, and I also think the video that they made to go along with it for the Best Damn Tour, I think it's a really cool music video that they made for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember there was a thread about, like, if there was a greatest hits Avril album, what song would you put in? I think I remember seeing you saying Bad Reputation. I was like, wait, what? Like,
no, I might have said that as a joke, I think, because it's been included as a bonus track on, like, every single album or something. I might have said that. Yeah. I might have said that as a joke.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was a joke or not, so I figured I'd ask you right here.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you said that your parents, like, kind of didn't want you to be a Britney fan as much, but you are a Britney Spears fan too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily that they didn't want me to, but, like, obviously when Avril first came out, artists like Britney Spears were what was popular, and because I was only, like, 8, something like that, I'm sure my parents probably wouldn't have wanted me. Like, I think at that point, Britney was on her 3rd album, and she was, like, getting into that, like, sexier, kind of, more suggestive phase of her career. It wasn't like, Oops, I Did It Again anymore. It was, like, when she did I'm a Slave for You.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
Getting rid of that innocence.
Was that
Toxic?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that was the next album, but it was like around that same era. It was when she started to become more like sexy and stuff. And like being a little kid, I'm sure my parents didn't want me to like be influenced by somebody who was very suggestive like that. And because Avril was so much the opposite of that, like she didn't go around showing off her body and like dancing provocatively and stuff. Like, and plus she was such a good role model for like young women because she was very free thinking and very independent, and she didn't take anything from anybody, and she was very strong and like opinionated and stuff. And so I think my parents were probably just glad that I wanted to look up to somebody like that instead. I'm just assuming.
Yeah,
like obviously,
yeah.
Like
Oh, go ahead.
obviously now, like they don't care what I listen to because I'm
Yeah.
24. Like I got into Britney when I was like 15 or something.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
I just started like listening to her music, and I'm like, I used to not like Britney at all, but then I started listening to some of her songs. I'm like, I actually really like this. So yeah, I do like Britney now, but I think back then it was probably a good thing that I didn't like get influenced by her. I guess like I wanted to. I know we'll talk about this later, I guess, but like I wanted to say that like I honestly think like if I had looked up to Britney instead, like I remember going into a CD store and I picked up her Britney album and I was like almost gonna buy it, and then I put it down, and then like the following year or something was probably when I discovered Avril. Like the whole course of everything could have changed.
Yeah, that changed your life. That one moment. We can pinpoint that one moment.
But like I honestly think if I had looked up to any other artist besides Avril at that point in my life, like I can safely say I would not be the same person that I am today without Avril's influence.
All right, yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But I mean, I wanted to ask you guys, like, so I mean, obviously Avril had that image in 2002, and I guess somewhat in 2004 with UMS. But like, how much of that was her, and how much of that was like marketing?
Yeah,
like her skater.
Yeah, like. Because like she dropped that pretty quickly afterwards, so I was wondering if that's like really her, or if that's like a marketing thing. That she was like positioned as this anti-Britney Spears like singer,
right?
Like, what do you think?
I remember talking about this on the forum like not too long ago, and I like went on this whole weird rant about it, but not like a rant, but just like a tangent about it. Because I think this stuff is interesting to analyze. I think it was like what I said in the post about it is I think it was a little bit of both maybe. Because like before she became famous, she was kind of one of the boys. Like she skateboarded and she played hockey, and a lot of her friends were guys, and she liked to wear baggy clothes and stuff. So like I wouldn't be surprised if that was genuinely her, I think, at the time. But I also do think the label pushed it a little bit because it was so against the grain of what was the norm at the time. So I think when something is very different, they tend to emphasize it.
Yeah.
And they wanted to exaggerate it to try to like get her to be popular and sell more records. So I do think it was genuinely her at the time, but I think it was a more exaggerated version maybe of herself. And also, we don't know like what was really going on in her head at the time, because like I think if you watch her very, very early interviews when she was like first coming out with the album, she seemed quite friendly and open, but then as the interviews like went on and she became more famous, she became very closed off, I think. So I feel like maybe fame or like people saying negative things about her, I think made her become closed off. Mm-hmm. So like we don't know exactly what was going on in her mind at that time, because I imagine it was a difficult transition being as young as she was and becoming famous all over the world, and she came from a small town. She didn't really know all this stuff, and it had to be like really weird for her.
Yeah.
And I think
sorry.
I think like you were saying with Under My Skin, like then she changed her image again, and then The Best Damn Thing was like a really different image. I think most of that was just her naturally growing up and growing older, and like nobody stays the same at the age of 17 as they are when they're like 20 and 25. And I think it's totally normal to like not like certain things, and then later, like as you get older, you decide you like them. So I mean, I don't think she was like being fake or anything. I think it was just her naturally changing her taste. And I also think she knew that she couldn't last in the industry if she always did the same image and the same type of music. I think she knew that she kind of had to reinvent herself like with each album in order to kind of keep rising in the industry.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in our main topic too. But yeah. Yeah. Wait, Marliz, you were going to say something?
Yeah, well, I do actually think that it was kind of forced with Let Go, like definitely the whole fashion style, because when you look at the early videos before she got famous and stuff, like her singing the country songs and stuff, she dressed so differently, and yeah, I think that is definitely a forced part, but also a little bit of how she acted. Like, I do know that her mom, like, always tells video, she's saying like, yeah, she's also always like the bad kid, or like, I don't really remember what she said, but yeah, I think it's kind of exaggerated, because definitely when you look at her now, she's so much different, and I think this is like the true Avril, how she is.
I feel like part of it in the beginning, like when you said like you compare Let Go to like before that, how she dressed and stuff. I feel like part of it is that her mom didn't allow her to dress completely how she wanted.
Yeah,
so it was like
true.
when she got to Let Go, she had like a stylist that could get her any clothes that she wanted, and she was like more free, I think, to express that style that she'd always wanted to wear. And then I definitely agree now. Like, I feel like the Avril from, like, either The Best Damn Thing or, like, Goodbye Lullaby era onwards, I feel like that is, like, not, like, that any time before that wasn't the real her, but this is, like, who she is now, because she's so much, she's so much older, and it's, like, you change a lot when you're, like, 17 to 24 or whatever, but, like, once you hit, like, your late 20s and go into your 30s, I don't think you change as drastically. So I don't think, like, you can see it from, like, Goodbye Lullaby onwards that she hasn't changed as much.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is probably who she is, like, from now on, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think she's gonna go back to those pants and tie. That'd be funny, though.
Well, I mean, the label wanted her to, like, change her music, too. It was more like Shania Twain country-ish, right? And then they sort of altered it later, and then it became Let Go. That's what I read.
Because the songs that she auditioned with for L.A. Reid were mostly country songs, and that's like what she grew up singing. And so L.A. Reid initially signed her as a singer and not as a songwriter, and so they were going to have people write songs for her, and they did want her to do like new country type stuff. And then that's when she said, well, no, I want to write the songs, and I want to do like pop rock. And so I guess apparently her first manager, Cliff Fabry, I guess he somehow negotiated for her to be able to write. And then it took her a while to find the sound that she wanted. I think when she got with The Matrix, that was really when that pop rock sound began to come together, and that's when she found her sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do remember watching interviews from, like, 2002 this year for the first time. She was actually answering questions about being fake back then, too. So I guess that was always a question about her, like, whether it was real or not.
Yeah.
Her image.
I mean, I could see how people back then might have thought she was being fake, because sometimes it did seem a little bit forced or, like, a little bit put on, like, trying to act tough and be, like, one of the boys and all that stuff. But... yeah, I mean, I guess we'll never really know, like, unless she writes some kind of tell-all book someday. I don't think we'll ever really know.
Yeah, well, I think it is her personality at the time. She was that, but it's just forced, like, not forced, but exaggerated, like Bogo said.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust labels. Like, they always force people to be someone who they're not, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could totally see, like, executives being like, "Oh, Britney's hot right now. Let's give kids like this alternative person who's like just as popular but like completely different." like I could totally see that happening too. So I've always been curious about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of this has to do with Bogo, but like I figured this is worth talking about. But yeah. No, though. So I mean, I saw you write about this a few months ago. So like, tell us how being an Avril fan has impacted your life growing up.
Okay. Well, like I mentioned before, like when I first saw her perform and singing and stuff, like it was like I knew somehow that she was going to resonate with me and that I related to her on some level. I maybe wasn't aware of exactly how, because I was so young then, and I wasn't, like, now I definitely dress more alternative. Like, when I was 8, I wasn't dressing in, like, combat boots and stuff like that. So, but, like, I think I always had that kind of, like, personality and that taste and stuff. And so it was like I somehow knew that this girl was like me. And, or I never know if I became that way because of her, or if I was that way already, and then she kind of brought it out of me more. I don't know. But, like I said, when I first saw her perform and everything just clicked with me. And, like I said, she was probably my first exposure to like commercial pop music. Like in terms of like that, like Let Go was the first real album I think I ever had as a kid, and that was my first exposure to like real music probably. And throughout the years, every time I'd like read her interviews and stuff, I think the way that she impacted me was because she was never afraid to be herself or to be different, and she was never afraid to be opinionated. And so I think I like when I was in high school and stuff, I was different than other people, like in terms of how I dressed and stuff. And so I guess I would have probably had a lot more self-esteem issues than, I mean, I still have like insecurities like everybody else, but I think I would have been even more insecure about myself if it hadn't been for her, because if I felt like I didn't fit in with people, I would listen to her songs like Unwanted or Nobody's Fool, and they'd make me feel better. And I would look at somebody like her and be like, she's different, and look at how popular she is.
Yeah.
So it made me feel better, I guess, about being different. And like, especially if we had the same taste in clothing and stuff. So it made me feel not as weird for my taste because there was someone else who had the same taste as I did. So that was how she influenced me. And like I was saying before, I don't think I would be the same person I am today without her influence, because she taught me that it was okay to be yourself and to be proud of who you are and to be proud of being different.
So does she still influence you today with her recent music and recent activities or whatever she does?
I don't know if I'd say as much anymore because like I said, I'm 24 and like you don't really have role models at that point. Like definitely when I was younger, I looked up to her a lot and like tried to dress like her. Like I never did the ties or anything, but I tried to like be like her kind of and stuff. But I'm sure like her influence comes across subconsciously in some ways. Like I'm wearing an Abby Dawn hoodie right now, by the way.
Yeah, planned
okay.
or not?
Yes, I did plan that. I have Wild Rose perfume on. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag ad.
Yeah.
So, what were we talking about again?
If she
Avril's influence on your life.
Oh yes, if she influences me still. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't take everything she does as seriously anymore. Like sometimes she does things I don't agree with, but like I said, I don't have role models at this point. Yeah, like I don't have role models at this point, so it's like if she does something that I don't agree with, I just take it with a grain of salt because it's not like I'm looking to her for how to live my life or like for moral high ground or anything like that. So, I still admire her very much. Like I do think she's inspirational, especially with like her recent experience going through Lyme disease and how she not only that she's trying to bring awareness to it, but like the story that she told of how she struggled with it, and now she's coming out with an album and she's writing songs about her experience. Like that definitely makes me admire her so much more, and I think she's inspirational for that reason. I also admire the fact that she has a foundation that helps kids with disabilities and illnesses, because I was born with a growth disorder that I've had my entire life, and not that it ever made things like impossible for me, but like I do have some medical side effects because of it, and like I'm very short, so that makes doing some things more difficult for me than it would for other people. And so I just admire the fact that she has a foundation that helps kids who have disabilities. So that's another thing that makes her inspirational to me, makes me admire her.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so you're the first person on the show to actually have seen Avril live. Like, tell us about your experience with that. Like, what were the people like there? Was the set list to your liking? Like, what was the experience like overall?
Wait, first you went to the Avril Lavigne concert, right? Like yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I had a couple of opportunities to see her live before the Avril Lavigne tour, but like they just ended up not working out for whatever reason. And then when it came time for like the Bones tour and the Black Star tour, she didn't come to my area. So I'd been a fan for 12 years, and I finally got to see her on the Avril Lavigne tour. It was the last show of the tour, and this was when she was very sick. this was when she was very sick, but nobody knew what was wrong with her, and so I think she tried to pull out the best performance that she could for that last show. And I was like really nervous leading up to it because she hadn't been performing up to par, and like shows have been canceled and like the set list had been shortened, and I was like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen? So I was really happy that she gave it her all for that last one. And not that I haven't been to other concerts before that, but I always wanted Avril to be like my first like pop artist, like commercial artist concert. So I passed up seeing other artists before that because I wanted hers to be my first one. Had to wait 12 years for it, but it was absolutely worth it. So the set list was, I don't even remember how many songs. I think it was relatively short, though, because she was ill, which nobody knew that at the time, but she couldn't perform as long, I guess, as she normally would have. And it was mostly singles and stuff like that. So I think I remember liking the set list, but just wishing it had been longer, or that she had included some more like album tracks. But like it's funny because people always complain that she always performs like the singles and like mostly upbeat songs. But when you're actually there in person, it's actually like perfect because it really gets the energy up. Like I remember I wasn't like close to the stage, but I wasn't like really far away or anything. And like there were a bunch of other people around me, and like it was kind of weird because I was wondering why a bunch of people were there when they didn't seem like they were super like into her. Like they might have just been like casual fans that were like, oh, let's go see a show, because it was at a casino, so they might have like been there at the casino and then just decided to pop in for the show. Yeah, it was like at a theater.
Weird. It was like I remember you were all seated, right? It wasn't.
Yeah, they have seats, but like, and it was funny because before that I was like, oh, I'm just gonna sit and listen quietly.
Hell no.
She came out to sing "Girlfriend" at the start of the show, and I stood up and like I didn't sit down again for the entire show, and I was like dancing along and screaming even though I knew she couldn't hear me, and I was singing along to every song and dancing, and some people like didn't seem like they were really doing anything, which I thought was weird. But every time she performed like one of the hits, like she did Skater Boy or What the Hell, and like the energy in the room was very up. And anytime she slowed down to perform a ballad, it was nice, but it did slow the energy down. So I get why she does mostly upbeat songs, and she does the singles that people know and that they can sing along with. Yeah. And her vocals sounded really good. Like I'm With You was like one of the most amazing things that I've ever heard, getting to hear I'm With You live, and she was hitting all those high notes. I actually recorded a lot of the concert on camera, and I have a video on my YouTube channel, like my old YouTube channel, if people are interested to see it. But I can easily say that was like one of the best nights, if not like the best night of my entire life, getting to see Avril live.
Awesome. Yeah, usually things don't live up to the hype, so it's nice that worked out for you.
But if you waited 12 years to see your favorite artist live, then
yeah. And I mean that was like you have to keep in mind that was when she wasn't at her best because she was ill. It's like you can only imagine like the Bones tour, the Best Damn tour, like when she had all that production going on and like she was really at her prime then. I can only imagine like how amazing those shows were.
So what would be your favorite tour of Avril?
It's kind of a tie between the Bones tour and the Best Damn tour for different reasons. The Bones tour, there wasn't like a heck of a lot going on with it visually, but I think her vocals were very good, and I liked that she played a lot of instruments, and I liked that she accompanied herself solo on a couple songs. And then the Best Damn tour, that might really be my ultimate favorite. The Best Damn tour, I always loved how it had a little bit of everything for everybody. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's too like staged or too pop or whatever, but I like that it does have all that visual stuff going on. And at least on the DVD, I love that DVD, by the way. I watch it like I've watched it several times. I love that DVD. There's like different sections of the show where she's playing upbeat songs, she's playing on the piano, she has like the areas where she's dancing, and then the ones where she plays instruments. And there's upbeat songs, there's ballads, there's the hits, there's album tracks, and it's very balanced. And there's also like the costume changes. So I feel like there's just something for everybody. There was like a little acoustic session that she did like in the middle of the show. So it had something for everybody, and I feel like it was very well balanced, and like the set list was good. So for me, the Best Damn Tour I think is my favorite.
And was there any song you wish?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you like the dancers of the Best Damn Tour?
I feel like the dancing was a little bit weird because like it was something unlike anything she'd ever done before that. And I mean, I get why she put them in because I think for some of the songs it made sense to have like little dance routines, but I'm glad she doesn't really do it anymore. Like I think it was fine to like as an experiment for that era, and like it kind of suited that era, but in general, yeah, I'm glad she kind of like abandoned the dancer.
All right, we can agree on that.
Were there any songs that you wish she played that she didn't when you went to the concert?
I mean, I would say like more album tracks, like at least from the Avril Lavigne album, like because there were some that she didn't she didn't play like at least Hello Heartache that much. She played it like once the whole tour, which I thought was kind of strange. I would have really have loved to have heard like You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, but I know she probably wouldn't be able to do that live because it's like very difficult to sing it. But I like that. That's like one of my favorite songs because she wrote it herself, and I love that like pop rock sound. So like, I guess maybe You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet.
All right. Yeah, for me, I mean, even though this isn't my interview, I wish. I feel like there was a missed opportunity because she didn't get to do like a really awesome Hello Kitty performance.
She didn't do Hello Kitty at the show that I went to. I don't know why.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
I thought that was weird.
Like it could have been this really big, like explosive performance, but like we never really got that, and I don't think she'll ever play that again. At least like outside of Japan. So
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I was like really curious to hear Hello Kitty live, and then she didn't play it at the show
exactly.
I went to.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm curious to see what it would be like since it's so hard to say.
Well, she did play it live, Hello Kitty.
Yeah, it was in
but
like
not at her
I forget
show.
where. I forget where, but like yeah, it was a pretty bad video. Like no offense, but like I was really disappointed. I was disappointed. That's all I'll say. It could have been better, but I'll give her a pass because she was probably sick.
Yeah, she was like really sick then.
Yeah. Hopefully, she'll bust that out in her next.
But do you guys think that? Would you want the production of her concerts to be like better than it is now? Like,
oh yeah,
a lot about in the last show, she didn't really do anything, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
like with screens maybe, or dancers, or bear sharks, or whatever. Like, would you want that?
I feel like she could leave out the dancers unless it like suited the music, but I like what I liked about the Best Damn Tour, for example, was that the stage was very colorful. It was like this pink stage with like the skull on it or something, and then like she had the different costumes. Not that she has to do like costume changes, but like sometimes they would do interesting things with the lighting and stuff like that. Like I think it needs to be visually better than it's been.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, I think she can improve on that as well. Because, like, one of my favorite performances of her was in the last era when she performed Here's to Never Growing Up, and it was, like, at this music award show or something. I don't really remember, but there were, like, a lot of dancers and a bear shark.
I remember.
Do you remember that? Yeah, and it all looked, and a lot of colors and, like, things flying in the air, and I was like, oh my god, you wish you would have been here. There, so I think if she really does that, it would really get the energy in the whole concert.
I think it just depends what the music is like, because I know for like the Black Star Tour originally, she was going to do like a stripped down show, which would have suited the music better than what she ended up doing. But like if she's going to do mostly upbeat songs and stuff like that, I think having something more visually exciting would make sense. But if she were going, like, I would love if she did a tour that was like acoustic, or like some kind of stripped down tour where she did a lot of like rare songs, like the album tracks and like ballad kind of stuff. So I think it just depends what the music is like, and it depends like what would suit it the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it also depends on what the album is like. Like, we have no idea what it's gonna be.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't really do a tour, or she might only do like a tour in Asia maybe for the next album, because we don't know like health-wise how she is.
Yeah. But she could do like a small. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I want her to tour here.
Yeah, I know. That's why
But,
like when she came, it's like when she came on the Avril Lavigne tour, I was like, this is my chance to see her, because she didn't come the tour before that. So like I don't know how many more chances I'll have to see her. So I took that chance when I had it to see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a weird tour. Like, I don't even think she went to California. I remember I was checking the tour like dates and stuff like that, like recently. Like,
The
yeah, there were
Avril
lots.
Lavigne
Like,
tour.
yeah, there were like big parts of the country that she didn't even go to. So
Yeah, and then I think she was supposed to do a show in New Jersey, I think, and it ended up getting canceled, which was like the day before the last one that I went to.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, or I think she had a show in Canada. Maybe the one in Canada was the one that got canceled. I don't remember. But yeah, there was only like a few dates, and because mostly when she toured the U.S., it was mostly as an opener for the Backstreet Boys. But somehow in Connecticut, that was when she toured solo. It was like a solo show.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like one of the lucky few people that
Yeah,
got to see
that's
like
awesome.
an actual show. Yeah,
I think it depended on the sales, I guess. In
maybe.
the places where she went.
I also just remembered the one thing about the show that I went to. That was one of the few performances where Chad came out to sing "Let Me Go" with her.
Oh,
really?
wow.
Forgot to mention
Oh,
that. Yeah, forgot to mention that. So like before she sang "Let Me Go," she was like, "I have a surprise for you guys," and she started singing "Let Me Go," and I honestly thought that was the surprise.
Knowing Avril, it would.
Yeah, I know. And then, like, when she got to the second verse, then suddenly you hear Chad's voice, and then he came out on the stage, and, like, so they were singing it together, and then he would, like, kiss her on the head in between parts of the song and stuff. So I feel really lucky that I got to see them perform it together, and it was pretty cool. I was definitely genuinely surprised when I saw him come out.
So do you think that'll ever happen again? Like, do you think Chad would do that again?
Nah.
Obviously, it
I
wouldn't be
kind
like
of
with
doubt
that
it.
kind. Like, I don't think he would kiss her again, but like, obviously, but like, I wonder. If
I mean, that would be
Maybe-
that'd be kind of a weird song for her to perform at this point because they're not married anymore.
Well, weren't they going to do that song anyway? Like, even before they got together.
Yeah, but they rewrote the lyrics so that they ended up together in the end.
okay,
So like the
okay.
lyrics make no sense at this point.
Yeah.
Plus, like,
yeah.
I mean, he's got his own schedule with touring and stuff. So I feel like if he were, it would happen like maybe on one concert where they happen to like both be available or something.
Yeah.
Both be at the same city or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I
All right.
wish
So I
we
guess.
could collaborate more, though. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh yeah. I wonder if she will collaborate at all for the next album. We'll see.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
All right, so yeah, just I guess one last question before we move on to the news segments. So obviously, I don't think you got to meet Avril, right?
No.
So if you did, like, what would you ask her? What would you try to talk to her about? Like a meet and greet or something at her next concert, if you got to do that.
See, I always wonder how I would react if I ever met her. Like, if I would be one of those people that like is just crying the entire time, or if I would be like too nervous, because I'm very shy, especially when I meet like new people and stuff. And I think she's very shy as well. So like, I feel like we'd probably both be kind of awkward and like wouldn't really say much of anything. But like, if I had the opportunity to like really ask her anything, I don't think I would ask her anything. I think I would just want to tell her how much she influenced me growing up, and that I guess like that she inspires me and that I admire her very much. I think I would just say something like that probably, but like I don't think I'd be able to talk at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too about myself. Yeah. All right, so moving on to news. This is kind of cool for me because I've been waiting for this for a while. But Avril's first 3 albums are appearing on vinyl, at least in Europe for now. Pre-orders for the first 3 albums appeared on Amazon UK and I think a few other European retailers. I think Let Go is a 2 LP set and the other ones are 1. So what do you guys think overall? I mean, are you interested? Does vinyl interest you in general?
I don't have a vinyl player, so like the release of her albums on vinyl means nothing to me. But I know that a lot of fans, like you said, a lot of fans have been wanting her albums available on vinyl. I think we were talking about it not that long ago. People were asking for her albums to be on vinyl.
Yeah, that was
and
me.
I know that they sold out in like a few days. So I guess it's good that like, the fans got what they wanted and that they sold. So it shows that there's like an interest still in her music.
What about you, Marliz? Are you interested at all?
No, it's same as Andrea, really. So I don't have a vinyl player, and I don't own any vinyls yet. So if I were to buy it, it would be pure for like collection purposes. So I might buy them if they're not that expensive. So
yeah, I mean they're still cool. Like you get this really nice big album art.
Yeah.
And they usually come with stuff too. It's not just the vinyl. Like they're usually like other inserts that have like cool
like
art or like lyrics or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like some cool like extras. I don't know if this Avril one will, but like it's nice to have.
It sounds better than digital, right? Supposedly.
Well, that's debatable. I mean, some people, some like snobs will tell you that, but I don't know.
Depends on the vinyl player.
Yeah, they'll tell you that. Like, but I feel like they're trying to justify their expensive hobby by like saying, "Oh, it sounds slightly better," but I don't know for sure. I haven't actually.
It's all what you prefer.
Yeah.
I could also buy it for decoration purposes. Actually.
Yeah, that's kind of
like hang them up the wall. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I really love the UMS album art, so it'd be kind of cool to have like a really big like version of that. So
yeah. So why were you excited for it? Because you were, right?
No, actually, I don't have a player either, though I do own some vinyl for some reason. But no, it's just cool because like if you're a fan of something, like it's cool to own something that like represents the things that you like. So I feel like it's cool to have like vinyl for artists you like.
Yeah.
Plus, we live in a capitalist society, and the best way to prove that you like something is to spend money and buy things. So, so that makes me feel better.
Well, actually, like the first albums that I bought were from Avril, and like I only bought them because I was a fan, and not really because I listened to CDs. So yeah, I guess it's the same thing, kind of. Yeah,
exactly. Like I don't listen to CDs, but like if I had them, it would just be because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
all right, so moving on. I mean, I don't know much about this next topic. Bogo, you could kind of lead this discussion. But apparently there have been some paparazzi pics.
So I think it was either yesterday or today. I don't remember. We got finally in like throughout for the first time in like the whole year, we got paparazzi pics of Avril, and she was seen with a guy, and people were saying that it was a producer. I don't remember his name. I think it was like JD Reddit. Is that what it was? You looked it up, right?
Yeah, but I couldn't find it, so I don't think it's the name.
Okay, I don't know. Sorry, I don't remember his name. But people were saying he's a producer, and he worked with like Gwen Stefani, Sean Kingston. I think Maroon 5 was mentioned also. I don't remember every artist that he worked with, but people were saying he generally works with like hip hop or pop. I think maybe rap artists. So people were kind of speculating if, because they were seen together, if they're working on Avril's album together or not. We don't really know much right now about it. So it's kind of early to say whether we think they're working together or not, because it could have just been, people were like, oh, maybe they're just having a meeting to find out if they want to work together.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just went out as friends. People think they might be dating, but I'm like, I thought she was dating Ryan Cabrera, so I don't know.
Yeah.
People were making jokes about how she, like, dates every guy she works with. So, like,
I know, right?
Yeah, so, like, who knows? And I know, like, people were saying if they are working on the album together, because she's been working in production for like a few months, so I mean it's possible. And she was looking for a producer. I know people were saying like, oh, based on what he's done, like I think he won some kind of like Producer of the Year award in 2011. Somebody said something like that. So I mean, he seems like he's a reputable person. But people were saying, given what he's produced in the past, like I think he did something for Fall Out Boy. They were like, I'm not sure that he's going to work well with Avril. So, like, yeah, it is questionable like how they're going to work together if they are working together, because I don't see her being like pop and dancey and bubblegum, especially for this album. But like you never know how a song is going to turn out, and like they could be producing it together, and like hopefully he would respect her vision and that she'd be able to make it the way that she wants and that represents her.
Yeah.
But at least we have something semi-album related, or like we have something we can kind of speculate on. So
yeah, and also
we got actual paparazzi pics.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
which is weird because it's August and this is the first time we got a picture.
Yeah, like everybody was saying, like everybody's saying that they think it was planned. Like I guess supposedly celebrities call the paparazzi. Like they either go where they know they're going to be, or they call them, and because like if you look at the picture, she doesn't look angry or like annoyed that they're like invading her privacy. She's like she's looking at the camera and like so like she might have been planned, which is another reason why people think it might mean that like an announcement is coming soon, because like they wanted people to see them together for some reason. So
yeah,
it's just something interesting to speculate on, as we always do on Band-Aids.
Yeah, we overanalyze everything. So
exactly.
Yeah,
well,
come on. She gave us
Avril
something.
clipped her toenails. What does it mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope it means something good.
Yeah, hopefully.
And new music is coming soon.
Yeah, soon.
Soon.
Not Avril soon, but like real, like the actual definition of soon. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't really say much about it because I don't know the guy, but yeah, I hope he's good. And
yeah, we don't know his name or anything.
No,
I know, I don't even know what his name is.
All right, so let's get to our main topic. So it's actually, this year marks the 10th anniversary of The Best Damn Thing, and that leads us to our main topic that Bogo proposed. Did The Best Damn Thing ruin Avril's career? And that might sound a little weird if you haven't thought about this topic before, because you might be thinking, wait, that was probably her most successful album at the time, and Girlfriend's probably her most successful hit. I mean, I know, looking back, like, people will probably remember Avril more for Complicated, but, like, at the time, Girlfriend was her biggest hit. So, like, how would that ruin her career? So, Bogo, how would someone argue that The Best Damn Thing ruined her career, and is that your position?
Well, I'll start off by saying that I am a big fan of the Best Damn Thing album, so, like, you know, I'm going to have a certain opinion towards it as somebody who doesn't like The Best Damn Thing is going to have a certain opinion towards it. I think that there needs to be a distinction made between ruining her career and causing issues for her career. That's the way that I think of it. And I know that a lot of people did not like the new image and the new kind of sound that she went for in that era. She did lose some fans, so I could see how people would say, oh, it ruined her career. And I think the biggest thing is that, as we all know, like when she went to make future albums, that the labels wanted her to make more songs in the similar vein of Girlfriend, which did not end up being as authentic, and they weren't as successful either. And so it wasn't the image or the sound that she wanted to continue with, but labels kind of wanted her to. So I would say that it's undeniable that it caused future issues for like the albums she would make after that. But I agree that, like, it sounds silly to say that it ruined her career when it was really her last truly successful era, and it garnered her first and still only #1 single. So it's like, it didn't ruin her career. Like, if anything, it elevated her to, like, really, I mean, she was a pop star before that, like a super successful pop star before that, but I think it really solidified her place in pop music, that whole era. And I think if she had released Goodbye Lullaby, like, right on the heels of the success of that, I think it would have been more successful. But because I would say the gap between those two albums was really what did her in more than anything. So I don't think it ruined her career. I think it just caused maybe some future issues with, like, the direction of music that she needed to go in. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was her last really successful era, and I think even though she did lose some fans, she also gained a lot of new fans. So, in my opinion, it didn't.
Yeah, I said in the first episode that The Best Damn Thing is kind of when I started paying attention to her, because I had heard her previous singles, but like this is when I started paying attention to her. So, yeah,
right. So I think people were very surprised that the blonde girl singing Girlfriend and like dancing is the same girl who did like Complicated and Skater Boy and My Happy Ending.
Yeah, that's what
so
I was
think,
like, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think, if anything, I think it gave her a lot of attention and a lot of new fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well, actually. Like, what you said, the thing that ruined her career was more like the gap between the albums, Goodbye Lullaby and The Best Damn Thing. So, I'm actually kind of curious what opinions people would have that think that The Best Damn Thing ruined her career. Like, what are they saying?
I mean, I think people who don't like the album or don't like that image, I think, or don't like that sound, like they don't like the brattiness of it, or that she became like more feminine, I think, or that they say that she became more pop, but I've never understood that because it's still got like those rock kind of instruments in it. But people say that it's pop and like her image was pop and there was the dancing and everything. I think people who don't like that, they would say it ruined her career. And I think the number one reason why people say that is because she was forced to recreate that kind of sound, I guess, with like What the Hell and Here's Never Growing Up, and like it definitely did ruin her vision for the future albums, like especially Goodbye Lullaby. It was supposed to be this personal, stripped down kind of album, and then you got songs like What the Hell and Smile, and so I definitely understand why people say it ruined her career, because like then she was not free to do what she wanted, and like it kind of ruined her vision for future albums. But I think mostly the people who say that are people who don't like the album to begin with, so they're like kind of biased one way or the other, you know.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm curious, Bogo, since like you were talking earlier about how like the first two albums you could relate to them so much, and it's like you felt that she was different and you were different, so you could kind of relate. So like when The Best Damn Thing comes out and Avril is like pink and like she's trying to be sexy a little bit, it's like, how did you feel when that change happened?
It's funny because when she first came out with that, I mean, I wasn't following her super closely at that point, but like I just remember watching the Girlfriend music video and I was like totally shocked. I mean, I was like 14, so you know you're like in that weird phase where you're like, oh, I hate the world and blah blah blah. So I think I took it more seriously than I would like now, but I was very shocked at how different she was, and I couldn't believe it was like the same person because she looked so different. And then like months later, I remember the album came out on iTunes and I was like, oh, Avril has a new album. And I listened to all the previews and I was like, this isn't her. Someone's making her do this. Like, it's so funny that I think about it now. But I was like, I was not convinced that it was like really what she genuinely wanted to do. And so I actually went through like a brief phase where I didn't really like her anymore. Like I only liked her old albums, and I was like, oh, I don't like her anymore. And I would have had the opportunity to see her on tour because my dad was like, oh, Avril's coming to town, we should see her on tour. And I was like, I literally remember saying, nah, she sucks now.
Your dad seems pretty cool though. He's like supporting you liking Avril.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
I know. But I mean, eventually I think I remember I hated Girlfriend because I thought it was like annoying, but then I think eventually I must have heard it a bunch of times, like through the radio and stuff, and it kind of grew on me. So I downloaded it, and then I was like, you know, maybe I'll just give the album a chance. So I bought the album, and like the first time I listened to it, I actually really hated it, and I regretted buying it. But then I was like, well, I spent the money on it, so I want to like listen to it a few more times. And like I listened to it a couple more times, and then like I started to appreciate it for what it was, and it really grew on me. And like I said, it's one of my favorite albums that she's put out. So yeah, like when I was not keen on it at all at first, but then I think when you give it a chance and you kind of appreciate what she was trying to do with it, I think that's when you can enjoy it, when you appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, it's funny though that you say that, because how you first hated that album, so then it does make sense that The Best Damn Thing would ruin her career because she's so different, and everyone would be like, huh, what the hell is this?
I mean, the thing is, at least, like, even though I didn't like it at first, I gave it, like, a fair chance, and I tried to listen to it, like, a couple times for it to, like, grow on me, whereas I think maybe a lot of other people did not give it the same chance. Like, they were like, I don't like it, and they never, like, really gave it a fair chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, I think your tastes change as you get older. Like I said, I was 14, and probably going through some weird, like, teenager-y phase, and then, like, maybe it was a year later, like I finally decided to give it a chance. So
Or
I
was
think
it a year later?
yeah, it might have been like quite a while later that I finally gave it a chance, and so I think like your tastes change as you get older. Like I remember Under My Skin used to be my least favorite album, and then I like listened to it like I don't know, a year or two ago. I listened to it again. I was like, this is a better album than I remember it being.
Yeah.
Like I used to not like it, and then I was like, this is actually really good. So I think as you get older, your tastes change. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, for me, I don't know why we're just talking about the best thing in general and not the topic, but I mean, for me,
Yeah.
for me, it's like I was really shocked by Girlfriend too. I was like, wait, this is the person who sang Complicated, but then like When You're Gone was also almost equally as popular, so I was like that kind of balanced it out for me. So like the shock wasn't as bad. It's like okay, there's still like the When You're Gone type of songs, but also the new Girlfriend type of song. So it sort of made sense to me, but. If you want to hear more about Bogo's thoughts on the best damn thing, there's actually a pretty cool, or actually a really cool 10-year anniversary video produced by Band-Aids, edited together by one of our users, Tom X. Wanted to give a shout out to him, but yeah, it's a really good video, and I recommend you check it out. And I'm gonna
yes, Avril, please watch that video.
Yeah, exactly. Avril, if you're watching this for some reason, you watch the goddamn video. But yeah, anyway. No, but going back to the 4-year gap, though, I mean, it was supposed to come out much earlier, right? But then stuff like Alice came along, and I guess What the Hell was sort of forced upon her to make. Was that the story?
Presumably. Yeah, she did an interview with Rolling Stone magazine in 2009, and according to that article, the album was supposed to be released on November 17th, 2009. She never said that. It's just that one article said that, but I mean they're a reputable source, so everybody assumed it was true. And then yeah, like obviously like nothing ever came, and we weren't getting any information about what was going on. And then in 2010, that was when Alice came out, and she also I think started working with Alex da Kid and Skylar Grey. She did like that random like YouTube video where she was in the studio and she was like showing what they were working on. Yeah, I wish she would do more stuff like that.
I know.
And she played a part of a song that like later we figured out was that instrumental Candy, supposedly. Mm-hmm. So she played like an instrumental of one of the songs. And then like basically it was really bad because a lot of time went by and there was no communication from her or the label or anybody about what was going on. And we kept getting a lot of paparazzi pictures of her, like, going out to clubs and stuff. And we're like, she's, like, partying instead of working. And then, like, eventually, I think it was the end of 2010, sometime in, like, December was when she wrote that blog post where she explained what had been going on. And that she was finally ready to release the album and that it would come out next year, like, the following year. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I sort of understand why she didn't communicate with us because, like, maybe she wasn't really allowed to say what was going on, or, like, it would have been pointless to be like, I'm having issues, and then, like, fans would have freaked out more.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess it made sense to kind of talk about it. Like, that's probably why she was going out so much, is because she, like, was in, like a stalemate with her label where she, like, you know, they weren't going to release the album unless she did what they wanted. She didn't want to do what they wanted, so they were just, like, there wasn't anything they could do, so she was just like, I'm just going to go out. And, like, I think also if they wanted her to write party songs, then she had to go out and, like, live her life to get inspired to write songs like that, I guess.
Yeah.
So it kind of all makes sense.
Like, if you listen to Smile, that honestly sounds like something that happened to her, like, yesterday. Like, that just seems like her life story. Not life story, but, like, I don't know. It just seems real to me. I don't know about What the Hell. That seems kind of weird, but, like, I don't know. I thought Smile was kind of
Smile makes sense. Smile makes sense because she said, like, she's talking about, like, getting somebody's name tattooed on her, and she got Brody's name tattooed on her. So, like, you can tell that was inspired by, like, her real life.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, no, the 4-year gap, it's so weird to think about, though, because when I think about 2007, like, when I was in high school, like, music was completely different compared to 2011.
Yeah.
Like, 2007, it's like, who was popular? Like, Avril, like, Linkin Park.
Paramore.
Like Good Charlotte, like, who were some,
it was like pop
Fall Out Boy. Yeah, it was like the peak of, like, pop rock or whatever. And then, like, in 2011, it's like almost
Just
completely gone.
Dance.
Yeah,
It was like,
Dance, and it was so bad.
I think it was like Lady Gaga and Kesha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like definitely a lot of like dance and that was like when the electronic kind of stuff started, I think.
Yeah,
exactly.
in a bad way though. I remember I hated so much.
I don't
like
mind
around
some of
2010.
I don't mind
it's
some
okay.
of it.
Yeah, it's okay. I feel like there's also this phase that she missed where, like, remember the period where there was like, it would be like a rapper, but then also like a pop, like, person,
Yeah.
like
The
Eminem and
features.
Rihanna, and like there were like a million of those for like a couple years, and I feel like she
Yeah,
was a
Eminem
part of
and
that.
Rihanna, right?
Yeah, there were a lot of those kinds of songs back then, but like she wasn't a part of that at all because she wasn't putting out music, so it's kind of weird to think about. But
And she never did something with a rapper actually. Now that you.
Well, I heard
well, no, she did Lil Mama. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Girlfriend remix. Yeah.
That doesn't count.
No,
Yeah, I think she was better off not collaborating with a rapper, though. I just don't see it like work. Like the only thing I could see is if she did something like "Love the Way You Lie," like that Rihanna song with Eminem, I think, or whoever did Skylar Grey, whoever did "Love the Way You Lie." If it was like more ballady, I could see that, but I can't see her being like a rapper.
Well, actually, when I read the Wikipedia article for "Goodbye Lullaby," I think it said that she had a few rap songs in there, but then cut them all. Is that
I
true?
think that was the stuff that she did with Alex the Kid, and they said that some of it was more hip hop leaning, so not necessarily rap, but like hip hop. But I mean, obviously, we never heard any of it. So
yeah. The 4-year gap was pretty big, just because the industry had changed so much since then. But also at the same time, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, like near the beginning of the show, whenever that was, probably like 2 hours ago. But but like you were talking about Britney Spears, it's not just the "Oops, I Did It Again" girl. She also had the toxic phase. She had the "I'm a slave to you." She had the "Give Me More" phase. She had the womanizer phase. It's like constantly reinventing herself and mixing it up. And like, isn't it sort of on Avril to do that too? Because I feel like she's had trouble like reinventing herself for like a modern generation, especially with the last album.
I feel like "Goodbye Lullaby" was supposed to be a reinvention of herself because "The Best Damn Thing," it's like a polar opposite of "The Best Damn Thing." It was like "The Best Damn Thing" was loud and bratty and aggressive, and then it was very in your face. And then "Goodbye Lullaby," she had just gone through like a divorce, and it was very raw, stripped down. She kept everything kind of in the family, like working only with her friends and recording in like her home studio and writing stuff by herself, and it was like just polar opposite. So I feel like that was maybe done intentionally, just like how "The Best Damn Thing" was like a polar opposite of "Under My Skin" in a way. But so I feel like that was her attempt at reinventing herself, but because she had to do like "What the Hell" and "Smile," it kind of didn't go the way that it should have. And then for Avril Lavigne, it just seemed like she didn't really know what she wanted to do because the album is so like all over the place. And I feel like with this new album, I feel like now she's again reinventing herself because she went through such a life-changing experience, and she said she's like getting back to her roots and stuff like that. And again, it's probably very personal, I imagine. So I feel like this is kind of her reinvention, and depending on who they have to like produce the songs, like I think I've mentioned this on the forum before, is that like you have Kesha coming out with a song like "Praying," and you have Miley with like "Malibu" and "Inspired." Like there are pop artists coming out with those kind of meaningful songs again. Like I feel like people are kind of sick of the electronic stuff and they want like real music again. So I think she's actually coming out at the right time, and if they do it right, I think it could be successful for her.
Yeah.
Right, and sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, I think Avril's pretty much reinventing herself with every album, right? Except because every album is so different, except for Avril Lavigne, obviously, because it's all over the place.
What I was gonna say is like when we say ruin, we should have done this at the beginning. What do we mean by ruin? Like creative? Like was she ruined creatively? Like sales wise, commercially? Like what do we mean? By ruin?
So career wise, aka sales wise. Image-wise,
okay,
I think it depends. It depends on the person who says that, because, like I said, I think most of the people who say that are people who don't like that album, and they don't like that album because they don't like the image, they don't like the brattiness and that kind of thing. I mean, I feel like when they say ruin, I feel like they mean different, not just like one way. I think they mean different ways, and I think a lot of them, I know for like a fact, pretty much the people who say this, they don't like The Best Damn Thing because they want her to do stuff like Under My Skin. Like, most of them think Under My Skin is their favorite album. They want her to do that dark stuff and like that rock kind of stuff. So because The Best Damn Thing was so polar opposite to that, they're like, oh, it ruined her career. Like, I think, like I said, I think they're kind of biased.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah,
because it's not what they like, so they're like, yep, I hate it. I was just gonna say, I think I understand why they say it ruined her career in the sense that she did lose fans and like it caused her problems later. But I think they just think it somehow made her lose credibility, maybe because she had built herself up the first 2 albums as being like somebody who's a songwriter and like a rock chick kind of, even though I don't think she ever was that. But
I agree with you, yeah.
But, you know, if people believed that, and then because The Best Damn Thing was pink and girly and sparkly and dancers, it was very pop, they're like, it suddenly was like as though it was not cool anymore to like her, or it was like embarrassing. Because, like, I guess I can understand if she has a lot of male fans, they felt comfortable listening to like the first 2 albums because it wasn't too pop or anything. And then when she became super girly, I think the guys felt like they couldn't relate to that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But it didn't ruin her career, though. Like,
what I was going to say is, like, I feel like people think that, oh, if it wasn't for the labels, Avril would still be making, like, UMS-style songs. I don't think that's true. It's not 2004 anymore, and she's not 19 years old anymore.
Right,
like,
I think...
change.
Right, I think that she made that kind of album then. That was the kind of album she wanted to make when she made Let Go, but she knew that she had to make something more pop first, and so that was like the album she wanted to make. But, you know, she even said it when she made The Best Damn Thing. She was like, I wanted to make this album fun. I wanted to make it a good touring album, because she didn't like having to play those like depressing songs every night. So like, it was the direction that she naturally wanted to go in, just like Under My Skin was the direction she naturally wanted to go in at that time in her life. So I feel like every album, it's been whatever direction she felt like she wanted to go in. Right. So I feel like she just does the opposite of whatever she did the previous time, because it's like she doesn't want to do the same thing twice in a row, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so what would she do next time then? That's a hard question.
Yeah.
I mean, I could imagine, like, if this album is going to be, like, personal and, like, a lot of ballads or something, maybe the next album is going to be fun and happy. I don't know.
Well, that's
Avril, you never know.
Yeah. Well, people think that just because she has Lyme disease, she's, like, she can't be happy anymore. Like, having a disease doesn't define who you are. Like, she's still, like, the fun person she used to be, but, like...
I think, if anything, that makes her want to enjoy life more.
Exactly. So. That's why I don't think, like, the whole fun pop vibe is gone completely. Like, it'll come back eventually.
Right, but I think
I
think what people are hoping for is that if she makes like happy upbeat songs, that they're just not super pop or super bubblegum, and that they have a meaning, because like some of the last ones haven't had like a super meaning to them. Like, I love songs like the anthem songs, like Freak Out or like Anything But Ordinary, like the ones that really mean something, and they're like self-empowerment anthems. Like, that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, actually, I mean, I brought this up. I made a thread about labels in the past on Band-Aids. Like, couldn't it be argued that adding Smile and What the Hell sort of worked in a way? Because those are her 2 most popular songs from the album, right?
Well, I think that's because they were singles.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense why they were popular.
Well, they're more popular than her other singles, though, right?
Well, I think... Are you talking about in terms of, like, streaming, or...
Well, yeah, streaming, YouTube, like,
I think
people knowing about them.
I think because they're more popular because that was, like, when streaming became, like, a popular thing. So I think it has more to do with, like, when streaming became popular and because they were singles and stuff. I don't know if it's necessarily the quality of the songs, but as far as them working on Goodbye Lullaby, I feel like Smile almost does, but the verses should have been written differently.
Yeah, I agree.
And then What the Hell, I think, just totally throws off the whole vibe of the album. Like, you have Black Star in the beginning that really sets the tone for what the album's going to be, and then it goes into What the Hell, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I think What the Hell and Smile are way out of place in that album, actually.
Yeah, Smile almost works, but...
I think it works for me, at least, but yeah.
It would work if the production was different. Like, there are, like, fake drums and a lot of electronic noises and stuff, so that's what sets it up, I think.
Smile sounds like it would fit more on The Best Damn Thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, but no, yeah. What I was gonna say is before I completely forgot. Why do I keep forgetting what I'm gonna say? Oh yeah, no, yeah. It was funny on a Band-Aid. Someone brought up a quote she said when "What the Hell" was coming out because she released it as her first single. She's like, yeah, this doesn't really mean that much to me, but yeah,
All right.
here you guys go. Here it is.
She's like, it is. She's like giving like a disclaimer in the beginning.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it
it's
was
the
funny.
most pop song and the
Yeah.
least meaningful song.
Yeah.
I think she was trying to say that because she knew how people
Yeah.
would react when they're
Yeah.
like, it's supposed to be a personal album. And I think she was trying to let us know that she knew that, and she's
Yeah.
like, just to reassure us, like, this is the least meaningful song, but everything else will be personal.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like saying, I don't even like this song, but my label forced me to release it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's basically what she was trying to get across without saying it
Yeah.
directly.
Yeah.
That's kind of awkward. I didn't even know that, actually.
Yeah, she's like, this is my least personal song of the album, but here
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Exposed. Label
it was-
exposed.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah.
She was with Epic at the time, right? Epic
No,
Records?
this was RCA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys think about the next album? I mean, not the next album, but like the AL. Like, what was her excuse then? "Quote unquote" excuse.
Well,
Like when we say the best damn thing might have ruined her career. Like, what did the best damn thing have to do with Avril Lavigne, the album?
Oh, because they still made her do like "Here's to Never Growing Up" and "Rock and Roll," so like they still wanted pop hits that were kind of bratty. Because I mean, we obviously don't know really what her vision was with that album, but we knew that she was working with like the Tripod, and so it was songs like "Give You What You Like" and "Let Me Go" and "Hush
And also
Hush."
Hello Kitty.
Right, that was like the odd one thrown
Yeah,
in there.
exactly.
So, I mean, yeah, we don't know what her plans were, but I mean, we do know that. Like, I remember when "Here's to Never Growing Up" came out, she said it was one of the most recent songs that they wrote. So I think we all knew that like her label wanted her to go back into the studio and write something radio friendly, I guess. So like that problem did plague her again with that album where they wanted like these pop radio friendly hits, and we'll never know if her label specifically says it has to be bratty, it has to be super pop, etc. But that seems to be how she writes radio friendly hits. So whether it's like because she's told to or that's just like her idea of a pop hit, we don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the same thing occurred again on that album. So
Yeah, it was just a weird album in general. It's like hard to really understand it. Like, I feel like she hasn't really talked about it. She hasn't really talked about the album after it came out, right?
I mean, why
I
would she
mean-
really need to talk about it when it's already out though?
Well, I mean, like the process of making it and like what she felt about it ultimately. Like, I don't really know
Yeah.
what she thinks about
Like,
it.
she did do that with Goodbye Lullaby, which I thought was really nice. Like, she explained every song, right? What's about.
Yeah, she
stuff.
did like the track by track commentary. Yeah, I agree. It was weird. Like, she seemed like she wasn't passionate about that album. Like, it's kind of weird because like she did the Avril TV episode when the album came out, and she's like, "I'm really proud of it." And then like it
Yeah.
seemed like every time after that, she like totally didn't care about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all really hard to tell from that era. Like, was she just too sick to care? Like, I don't really
I mean,
know. Like,
A lot of it
the
happened
deal was.
before she got sick,
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
so like it wasn't entirely that.
okay. Yeah, I have no idea. Such a weird era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, I know people have said this before, but like it's so weird that for the album and era that is titled after her, it's the least.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's the least
exactly.
like her.
Yeah.
But that also says something that she's like so uninspirational that she just uses her own name as the album title. Like, if even she knew that there wasn't one album title that was gonna describe the whole album because it's all over the place.
Oh, yeah, I guess
So just
that's
name it
I
Avril
that's
Lavigne.
really the song.
I
yeah.
think in a way I understand her because it was like a mix of all the different styles that she had done before. So I guess in a way I can understand why she felt like it was like a compilation of everything, like all of
Yeah.
her different styles. So,
I
but
think
yeah,
that's
like
kinda what you said.
I think
yeah.
it's a lazy thing,
Yeah.
though.
I don't know. Like we'll never know. Like again, she's got to write that tell-all book one
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
I hope
yeah.
she will write like a book someday, but I feel like she won't.
Yeah. Does she like writing though? Did she ever mention that?
I'm guessing no.
She said she said she might want to write a cookbook, but nothing about like a biography type of book. But who knows?
Maybe
I think based on her recent what is it? Social media post, it's gonna be more like a healthy cookbook thing.
Yeah. how to make green smoothies and Slim Secrets bars.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so conclusion.
So what's the verdict?
Ruin her career?
All right, yeah. So yes or no? We'll go across. We'll go through each of you. Like, did the Best Damn Thing ruin her career? Yes or no? Bogo, what do you think?
So I would not use the term ruin. I would say that it caused some future issues, like for the albums that she made after that, in the sense that she had to make singles that were similar, that was not the direction she wanted to go in, but I do not think it ruined her career.
What about you, Marliz? Yes or no? Or
yeah, I don't think it ruined her either. It's just more like an image change. But at the end of the day, it's just her being herself, so I don't blame anything on her.
Yeah, for me, I'm just going to say some of it's on Avril, some of it's on the label. Yeah, that's about it. It's hard to tell how much of each to blame, but I feel like it's both of them.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the last section of the show, where the community asks questions for our guests. So, Marliz, you have a bunch of questions for Bogo today, right?
I got some questions collected. Yeah, there were actually a lot of questions, so thank you for that.
Yeah, it turns out making a thread works pretty well, so I guess we're going to be doing that.
First time. All right, first question is from Twitter, from Avril RL Portugal. What is your favorite Avril hairstyle? We had that last time as well, but...
Let's see. I mean, I do like her classic straight brown hair from Let Go, because I love the whole Let Go style in general, and that was like very iconic, like that iconic hairstyle from her, because she wore it literally the same way every day, so I thought that was kind of funny that she would do that. I also like anytime she has like colored streaks in her hair, like she had pink in The Best Damn Thing, and like the pink and the green in Goodbye Lullaby, so I like whenever she adds like color to her hair. And then I also liked for the Goodbye Lullaby shoot, like in the Alice era when she had the blonde with the black. I wish she kept that, but
really nice.
Yeah, I liked that. So I have like a few different favorites, I guess.
Right, awesome. Next questions, they're all from Band-Aid's Farm. First one from In Wonderland. If there were an Avril and Dalton concert over the same night, which concert would you attend?
So I laughed out loud when I saw that question, so I'll explain it in case anyone doesn't get it. So there's another artist that I like named Dalton Rapatoni, and he was a finalist on the last season of American Idol. And ironically, like, he reminds me a lot of like a male version of Avril, especially like his older music. So I'm always like recommending people on Band-Aids check him out because I think you guys would like him. But yeah, he's like my second favorite artist after Avril. So like I love him like nearly as much as I love her, so that's why like I'm always talking about him and stuff, so that's why I think she asked that. So I've actually seen Dalton in concert twice already, and I've met him a couple times, so I think that's why I would say I would actually go see Avril, because I've only seen her once, and like Avril's still my favorite, so as much as I love Dalton, I would see Avril, yeah.
Alright, next question is by Tom X. Do you know every single Avril Lavigne song lyric by heart?
When I saw that, I had to think about it, because I feel like I used to know. I might have forgotten some, especially like her later albums, because I haven't listened to them as much. I feel, and like definitely by this point I think I've forgotten a lot of the lyrics, but I definitely like used to know, and I feel like for the most part I do know like the lyrics to most of her songs, and definitely like Let Go, maybe Under My Skin, maybe The Best Damn Thing, maybe not so much the last couple albums, but like for the most part I know like the lyrics to all of her songs.
So how often do you actually still listen to her albums?
I don't listen to the albums like in full, like from start to finish very often. I mean, growing up I played Let Go hundreds of times, and then Under My Skin maybe like 50 times or something like that. The Best Damn Thing, the same. I didn't listen to Goodbye Lullaby a heck of a lot, and I didn't listen to Avril Lavigne like that much. But I like to play individual songs more so than like the album from start to finish. Yeah. So I haven't listened to like the last couple albums like as much as her early ones.
All right. So this next question is by a name who's going to be hard to pronounce, so forgive me if I do it wrong. From Nixie Chelsea, something like that. What do you think? Nikki. Oh, Nikki?
Yeah, that's what she told me to call it.
Oh, Nikki? Okay.
That's what she told me.
She has two questions. The first one, what do you think about the mysterious fog that is around Avril Lavigne 6? Do you think it will come out this year?
So I know we were talking about that before we started recording. We're like, is the album really going to come out this year? Because I was kind of thinking just today, I think we'll be lucky if we get like a single this year. And like, yeah, we were saying how we think it's weird that like they kept saying like, stay tuned in the coming weeks, and then like they didn't post anything. But then like we were talking about with the paparazzi photos, that usually means like something is coming. So like it's hard to say right now. I mean, I think it's like I said before, I think there's a very small window for it to come out still this year, because even if it came out in like December, she would have to wrap up production like this month probably or something, and they need to start preparing like the single and the promotional part and stuff. So like there's a lot of stuff to do if it is still going to be released this year. But hopefully, like with the paparazzi pictures, like hopefully that means maybe. And like she's doing those throwback posts on social media, like trying to keep people interested. So hopefully that means something.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question from Nikki. What do you think about Avril acting the same way she did in the last two eras?
Acting the same way, like I don't get what the question means.
Yeah, I was thinking so. Like, I think she means just her image has kind of stayed the same over the past two eras, like not drastically changing, like from
like what we were talking about
under my skin to it or something. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if we talked about this. I think we did talk about this on camera. I don't remember if it was on camera or off camera. How we talked about how like when she was in her first few eras, like you change a lot when you're 17 to 20 to 25, but then once you get to like your later 20s and early 30s, you don't change as much. So I feel like it makes sense to me that she hasn't been changing as drastically, because I feel like this is more like who she really is. Like she's not some like confused 17-year-old like not knowing who she is. Like she's lived life at this point. She's not like a teenager anymore, so it makes sense that she hasn't changed that much.
Yeah, and do you mind? Like, do you want her to stay the same, or?
I mean,
I'm sure that's about that.
I think it's good to like change certain things, like just to keep things fresh. Like nobody stays the exact same. Like even when you get older, like eventually you get like a new haircut, maybe, or you maybe try to wear different clothes than you would before, or something like that. And like especially musically, I don't think we all want her to make the same album over and over again. So, like, I think change is good as long as it's, like, what she genuinely wants to do and that it suits her. Like, if she tries to force something or it's, like, something that she's being forced into doing, then no.
Yeah. All right.
Just be you, Avril. Yeah.
What?
Just say be you, Avril. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just be you.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Next question from Keenware. Could anyone replace Avril?
When I saw that, I think he means like, I doubt he means the Melissa theory.
You could answer that too.
Yeah. When I saw that, I immediately was like, no, because that's what makes Avril Avril, is that she's very unique and very individual, and there's no one like her. So the simple answer is no.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
Because I feel like a lot of artists these days are like similar, as in voices or acting wise, but not
it's
really.
It's funny because a lot of people, like when Avril was popular, a lot of people did try to be like her. Like you could tell when someone was influenced by her. Like they tried to look like her. There's like one of those artists out there, I forget what her name is, but she like looks a little bit like Avril, and she like kind of makes songs similar like her. I forget what her name is. I know someone on Band-Aids will know though. And she like denies that she's trying to copy Avril, but it's so obvious. Like she even has songs.
You mean
that
an
have, like,
actual
the same
artist,
titles.
or?
Yeah, it's like an
Because I
actual
think
artist.
Oh.
Like I totally forget. I don't know if her name is like. Oh no, I totally forget what her name is. But
I know
like,
who you mean.
from certain angles, she looks like Avril, but otherwise she doesn't, and she dresses like her. She even has songs that have like the same titles. Like she has a song called "I Can Do Better," like literally.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Like, but
Yeah,
she
I
also
totally
does
forget what her
covers,
name is.
right, of Avril.
Yeah, I totally
does-
forget what her name is. And then she like denies that she's copying Avril, but it's like
Yeah.
so obvious. And so there's definitely been a lot of copycats over the years. They've never come close to being Avril because no one can be Avril. Like Avril is Avril, and that's why people like her.
Don't even
Agreed.
try. All right, Sam asks, "Why are you such a flop?"
I laughed so hard when I saw that.
No, if you had to pick whoever had to collaborate with on a song, who would it be?
I'm not sure if he means like songwriter, producer, artist. So
I think like Lil Mama was so an actual.
Yeah, or Chad.
like
yeah.
an artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a collaboration with Taylor Swift would be awesome because a lot of people love both of them. And like they did perform together once and it was pretty cool. And like Taylor's a really big artist and they are a little bit similar. Not really similar like genre wise, but like they're both female singer-songwriters. And I know Taylor I think is kind of a fan of Avril. So I feel like a collaboration with them would be cool. Or of course I would love it if she collaborated with Dalton because I love him. And like I really do think he is kind of like a male version of her. Like they have a similar sense of style, and like especially his older music is very pop rock and alternative and pop punk. So I feel like I think their voices even could mesh well together too. But otherwise, I haven't really thought about it too much because she doesn't really collaborate with artists that much. So I haven't really thought about it too much.
I wonder why though.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it seems
she
like
doesn't want to, or
I think it might just be like certain artists. Like I don't know how she wanted to collaborate with like Lil Mama, but like at least with like the One OK Rock, it's like people that she went on tour with, so she like had a connection. I think it has to be somebody that she like has a connection with. Yeah, because I remember like in Let Go, I think Justin Timberlake asked her if she wanted to collaborate, and she said no, because I think she would have felt like it didn't suit her. So I think it just depends, like, who it is. Like, she collaborated with Marilyn Manson and Chad because they're
weird.
friends. They're, like, they've been friends forever, so, like, it made sense. I think she has to have a genuine connection with the person, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. Harvey asks, if you were given the opportunity to write a song for Avril, what kind of song would it be and what would it be about?
So when I saw that question, I was like, that's a complicated one, no pun intended. Because I get what he means, like just hypothetically writing a song for her. Like I suppose it would be like pop rock or pop punk. It'd probably be some kind of like self-empowerment anthem or something like that. But I don't think I could ever really write a song for her because we know that she writes her own stuff. So I think if anything, I'd write it with her, which would be amazing. And I think, only Avril can really write songs for Avril. Like, I think if anybody tried to write songs for her, it would end up sounding a little bit, like, inauthentic or something. Like, if you tried to write a song like Girlfriend, like Skater Boy, or, like, the kinds of songs that she's known for, if you tried to write something like that, it's not going to sound, like, the same. Like, I feel like it would end up sounding, like, Disney-ish or something. It would sound like some kind of, like, cheap pop rock kind of song that is like all angry, but it's not like really her because like only she can write for herself.
Well, that reminds me of something from a few months ago when I was listening to Anything But Ordinary for the first time, and I heard her say the word opulent, and I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like a word Avril would say when she was 16 or 17, or even now. Like that just was really weird to me. Like, what's the deal with that?
I like didn't even know. I mean, I was only a kid then anyway, but I had never even heard that word. Like all those words, like succulent, opulent, and I had to look them up because, like, even now, like if I had never heard that song, I would never know what those words mean. So
opulent isn't a word
she
you
clearly
hear.
didn't write those.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she didn't. Okay, next question from Thigh Archery. He has two questions. First one, they're so long. if you were to advise Avril about what to do in the future career-wise, what would you suggest? Which areas would you tell her to put more emphasis on, and what would you tell her to change?
So first of all, shout out to thy archery because we're buds on Band-Aids. We've been, I guess, chatting on Band-Aids for like several years. So I'm happy that he's back on the site. Yeah. So
a member of the month last month.
Yeah. So how would I advise her in her career? I mean, I think I would say that she needs to use social media a little bit more. Like, I mean, it's not that she's not using it enough, but she posts a lot of like Abby Dawn and like ads and stuff. And it's like, it would be nice to see more music related stuff. Like if we could have like a clip of a song or something like that. But I don't know like what she's allowed to really post, because I know a lot of artists don't really do that until they're like ready to release something. So like it's kind of understandable that she doesn't. And I think if I were to give her any advice, I think I would just say, I mean, I think she already has been doing this, but just to like stay true to herself. And like if a label is telling her like you have to make this kind of song, and if that's not what she genuinely feels and it's going to compromise the vision that she has, I would say just stick to your guns. But I'm sure that she has already been doing that, and sometimes she doesn't really have much of a choice. So I mean, otherwise I don't think I could really give her any advice, because I mean she's been around for 15 years, which is really rare for a lot of artists. Like a lot of artists don't make it past their first album maybe. So, like, I think in general, she's been handling herself really well.
Yeah. And I think this new label will give her a lot of freedom as well, from what I heard, actually.
I really hope so, because it seems like they're supportive of her vision this time. And, like, especially, I feel like this is going to be the most personal album that she's put out yet. And, like, she went through a really, like, basically life-threatening experience. Like, literally her life was threatened. Like she almost died practically. And so this needs to be a really special album. Like I will be so mad for her if any label or anybody tries to be like, you gotta put like Hello Kitty type songs on it. No, like
fuck off.
This has to be like she's telling her story, and like this is her coming out of the most trying time of her life, where she literally had to fight for her life. And you know, this is her time to tell her story, and she deserves to be able to express herself in the most real and the most authentic way that she can.
Yeah. All right, last question, also from Diartery. What are your wishes and expectations about the album in terms of lyrics and songs and themes, etc.?
I think we kind of probably talked about this earlier, but like I think in terms of my expectations, I think number one, I just want it to be whatever she wants it to be, because after having the last couple albums, her vision was compromised a little bit. I think she deserves to be able to do what she wants, and I'm hoping for a lot of personal songs and songs that are meaningful to her, and I really want like a lot of self-empowerment anthems, like a Roar types, like Roar by Katy Perry, or like Praying by Kesha, like those kind of, or like Fight Song by Rachel Platten, like those kinds of self-empowerment anthems and songs about like just enjoying life or living life and not letting things bring you down, because I love songs like that. And I hope that she'll be a little bit more creative with lyrics. Like I feel like on these last couple albums, sometimes she always goes for like the cliche lyrics, or she uses like the same lyrics that she's used in other songs before, and it's like maybe be a little bit more like imaginative or like creative and not so like cliche with the lyrics, I hope.
So then how would you feel about lyrics like I'm a warrior?
I know, it's
speaking of cliches.
It's like I'm a warrior and I'll fight. But I mean, we can't judge anything, because like that's only one little part of it. And sometimes lyrics don't read well. Like I remember when we read the lyrics to Rock and Roll, and we're like, is that really the lyrics? But like, I think if you read the lyrics to almost any song, especially her songs, I think if you only read the lyrics, you're like, is that really the lyrics? But when you hear the song and you hear the lyrics put to melody, sometimes it sounds better. Yeah, so I think that's like one line in the whole song. So I think we can't really, like, there's been some lyrics she's put out that I think sound really good, like, storms are seasonal, but strength is forever. Something like that. Or like when you're down, remember you have a warrior inside you waiting to fight, or something like that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to find out.
If she releases a single, we'll have something more to go on.
Yeah, Avril.
Yeah, all right, so let's wrap it up then. Thanks for watching. We're a day late due to scheduling issues, but we should be back on our regular schedule next time. Actually, yeah, I guess it's time to announce our next guest. Someone I'm excited about just because I've never talked to her before outside of just asking her to be on the show. But Amanda from Band-Aids is going to be on the show. So if you have any questions for her, we'll make a thread about it that you can submit your questions to. And beyond that, like I said, thanks for watching. And Bogo, I know you have a couple YouTube channels. So what are they about, and how can people find them?
So I have one channel called Andrea D Music. I think I have a thread on Band-Aids somewhere about them, if people are interested to look, or they can just PM me and ask. So I have one called Andrea D Music. I play the guitar, I sing, I write songs, and so I try to put some stuff up on YouTube. And I also do like other things like music reviews. So like when Avril does release like a single or an album, I'm gonna do a review on it. So I do like reviews and stuff like that. And then I have Andrea D TV, which is more like a general YouTube channel, and I make like reviews about like different like beauty products, or I do shopping hauls and like experience kind of videos and things like that. So if people are just interested in stuff like that, I got those two YouTube channels.
All right, cool. Yeah, and I'll link to both of them in the description in case people forgot what they are already. Yeah, it'll make it easier. But beyond that, yeah, you can find us, me and Bogo on Twitter, that are listed below our webcams, and Marliz on Instagram, also listed below hers.
You can find me anywhere with that username, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also on Instagram at the same handle as Twitter.
Okay. And yeah, you can contact us on the forums if you're into that. You can email me, bestdamnavrilshow@gmail.com if you're interested in being a guest, or if you have comments, you want to yell at me or whatever. That's a pretty good way to do it. Anything else? I think that's about it. Do you guys have anything you want to add? Any comments, Bogo?
I think I would just say that I enjoyed being part of this. Like, when the idea was first announced, I was like, I don't know about this. Like, how many people are going to be interested? Because we're all so shy. That's why we're on a forum, because we're so shy and we don't like being on camera. But like once it started and I watched the episodes, like I always have to like set aside time to watch them because they're so long, but they're so worth watching, especially if you are interested in Avril or if you're on Band-Aids, because I think. Yeah, it's fun to talk about Avril and stuff, but I think the most fun part is getting to know the members of Band-Aids, because we don't see each other or hear each other talk. We just type stuff. And so to get to know each other on a deeper level than just typing like messages about like Avril's hair and stuff like that, it's nice to know each other's stories of how we became fans and what Avril means to us, and knowing each other as like people and stuff is really interesting. So I enjoyed being part of it.
Agreed.
Awesome. Yeah.
Anything, Marliz?
I was just thinking, like what Andrea said, maybe it's cool to like sometimes have one big video chat or like voice chat with a lot of Band-Aiders and stuff.
Isn't that what the Discord? Is that what the Discord
you can only
is?
Yeah, you can do voice chat. And like I used to do that like in the beginning, because we were like the only ones not really shy to do it, and then we did it a couple times, but now I don't think anyone really does it anymore.
No,
right?
Yeah, I think a lot of us are just very shy. Like, it's funny because I make YouTube videos, but like in general, I'm shy. Like, I was kind of shy about doing this, but like, yeah, I think that's why a lot of us are on the forum, because we're just too shy to like appear on camera or like talk and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, I guess, but I honestly would say to anybody who is shy, like I know in Wonderland said the last time she was shy about doing it too. But like, I think you just have to think of it as like you're talking to your friends and you're talking about Avril, and like once you start, it's totally not nerve-wracking at all. So like, if you want to be a guest, but you're like, I'm kind of shy, don't be shy, and it's really fun, and you get to kind of pick the topics you talk about. So you get to talk about whatever you're interested in, and like we all love Avril, so like it's not like you have to be nervous in front of anybody because we all love the same thing.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I'm really glad that you came on, Bogo. You were near the top of our list when we did the show, so yeah.
I'm glad I got to be on.
Yeah. And anyone can guess, by the way. It's not just like certain people. Like so far, we pretty much only had mods and former mods on the show. So no, yeah, anyone, any.
As long as you're an Avril fan.
Yeah. If you're an Avril fan, that's the only thing we require. And you have a webcam.
We need to get Avril.
That would be nice.
Yes, we need to get Avril herself
if you're Avril, yeah,
episode
definitely.
18, right? That's when we want Avril on.
That's the meme. Yeah, that's the plan to have her on episode 18. It's gonna be pretty special. But
that would be sick.
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you.
So Avril, do you think the best names name ruined your career?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's gonna be amazing. I'm telling you guys, it's gonna be great. But that's about it for this episode. See you in a couple weeks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.